Heated shenanigans, working stiffer than mannequins. Vader time like a mannequin, mega powers, I'm savage and peep the babbling. Got 'em shook off the verbal acumen. I'm the main event, meaning nobody coming after him. The topics we be tackling, ankle locking and tapping them. I hate seafood, but I might throw the Boston crab on them. You know sometimes it gets heated. You know sometimes it gets heated.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Heated Shenanigans Podcast. I'm your host today, Scott, and I am joined by former NXT talent, the one and only Gina Marie. Gina, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Not too bad. Late night last night, trying to catch up with the Royal Rumble and report on all of that.
Yep, me too. Watch the whole thing.
It got over late. I didn't think 4 matches was going to take that long.
I know those Rumble matches are always really long, but it's entertaining because it's the unknown of who's coming out next. It's one of my favorite events of the year.
Same here. I think that for me, the Rumble is probably the second to WrestleMania, but
yeah.
Well, as somebody who was once in that world of the WWE, what was your journey like to getting discovered by WWE? Because you have a different story of getting to WWE than what others typically do.
Yeah, so my background, I was competing in CrossFit at the time, and I was looking for something different. And I had always thought about wrestling, never really thought it was anything attainable, and I didn't really know how to get started in it. So one day I just reached out to the WWE. I actually filled an application out on their website and submitted it. And about a week later, I got a phone call from HQ, and they, asked me to go through a couple different interviews, and then they invited me out to WrestleMania. So yeah, my journey was a little bit different because I don't have any prior wrestling experience. But, I think it's never too late to start. It's never too late to try something new. And I think that my background was a great base and foundation to build on.
Oh, absolutely. Were you looked at differently by others in your training class in WWE, any of the trainers, because you didn't have that traditional background in professional wrestling?
Yeah, so the entire group and my entire tryout, none of us had any wrestling experience. And that was kind of the first time that WWE wanted to reach out to athletes that didn't have any experience. So the class that I came in with was a little bit different. I think as a whole, we were probably looked at in a different way, but luckily I had people that I came in with that were going through the same thing as me, and we were all introduced to something new.
We'll see that. It makes it a nice even playing field at that point.
Definitely.
What would you say, though, through your time in this wild world of professional wrestling, was one lesson that you learned that you didn't expect to learn, and how did it change your career after that?
I would say probably just to do it for you, because there's always going to be different opinions pulling you in all these different ways. And at the end of the day, you have to do what makes you happy. Wrestling is a sport where it is very opinion based. And at the end of the day, if you're not making yourself happy, then you're not going to produce a performance that's going to make others happy. So you really just got to do it for yourself and make sure that everything you're doing is aligning with your values and your goals.
That is an excellent way to answer that question. So, wrestling aside, obviously, being human beings, we love more than one thing. We have passions and interests. What are some other passions and interests that you have?
I have a big passion for fitness. I have since I was in college. When I first went to college, that's when I found my love for fitness and health and nutrition. So on the side, I do some fitness and nutrition coaching, and it fuels me and gives me purpose to know that I'm helping others achieve their goals. And yeah, I would say that's probably my major side thing that I love to do.
So what really geared you into that field? What was the driving force to get into that?
So whenever I was younger, I was not fit or in shape at all. So I think just going through that transition myself and transforming my body made me want to help others do the same.
Okay. So when you're going to the gym, you're working out, what would you say are your favorite exercises and some of your least favorites?
My favorite is definitely shoulders. I love anything pressing overhead. I think that comes from my background in gymnastics. I love doing handstands and just like being upside down. So I think I definitely have like um, a big advantage there. And then my least favorite is probably just legs. No one likes them, but you got to do them.
Yeah, yeah. Who would you say, do you have any inspirations in the fitness or the bodybuilding world that you kind of take from? Any advice that you've been given?
Like personal advice that I've gotten, or
Yeah, yeah.
um, I mean, there's so many. I kind of, the fitness space is so big that I kind of try to seek influence and inspiration from a bunch of different people. So while I was competing in CrossFit, there were a lot of like top CrossFitters that I would seek information for. Now, as I'm transitioning into wrestling, I just love following some of the top stars there. Rhea Ripley, she's a great one. There's so many, so I just try to pick and pull different things and different aspects from people.
So with the time that you had in WWE NXT, who were some of the people that were willing to come out and help and shape the future for your career?
Um, so I was lucky, to be surrounded by some of the best coaches in the world. Um, and I would say all of them were very helpful, and all of them have different knowledge that I was able to pick and pull from. Wrestler wise, a few that stands out would probably be Ivy Nile. She was a huge help for me from the beginning, and I think it was kind of from our background in fitness. Also, Fallon Henley, she was a huge help to me. She was always very kind. So there were definitely some that stuck out more than others, but you know, everybody there just wants the best for you and will really help you and guide you to be successful.
That's excellent. So having getting your path into WWE, into NXT, and not working the indies, doing any of that, what did you feel like after taking that first bump in the ring?
Um, I honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And I think it was because I had a lot of adrenaline at the moment. Whenever you're surrounded by some of the best coaches in the world and you're being evaluated at a tryout, Triple H is in your sight, all of that pain just kind of goes away. Um, but yeah, I fell in love with it the moment I stepped into the ring. And I think that overpowered anything else.
Did you have any moves throughout training that you're like, this one's a little bit scary to take?
At first, the power bomb was really intimidating to me. But other than that, not really.
I I had always thought that the back body drop that you'd always see Ric Flair take, to me that was
Yeah.
terrifying because you're up and you're counting on that guy to get your legs to make that
Yeah.
rotation if you're not athletic enough to do the flip.
Right.
That to me was horrifying to take.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. Like, it is a teamwork, but at the end of the day, you can learn how to protect yourself. So
Absolutely. Now,
if you figure out how to take the right bump, you'll be okay.
let's tuck your head.
Exactly.
So you are taking independent bookings at the moment. Do you have any places that you're working at regularly in your area?
Yes, so there are two places in the Pittsburgh area that I'm working at regularly. The first is IWC, and then the other one is Rise. So those are like the main ones that I've been going back and forth with. But I am open to traveling and just gaining as much experience as I can on the scene.
Say that traveling thing's a nice segue to get a nice little plug in here. You will be able to see Gina Marie live and in person on Saturday, June 29th, here in Lafayette, Indiana, at Every Child Wins, our benefit show for juvenile diabetes and muscular dystrophy, as Gina will be taking on OVW star Ari Alexander, a double, and a OVW spotlight feature match. Have you heard at all or seen any of Ari's work?
I have, yes. I've been trying to broaden my wrestling and checking out people from other promotions, and OVW is a great promotion. Would love to work with them in the future. So I've definitely seen some of her stuff.
Say Al Snow is one of the kindest, most knowledgeable men that you will ever come across in professional wrestling.
I hope I do.
I do too, because I really think that you, from seeing the matches that you have out available on YouTube at the moment, you are very gifted and incredibly athletic. And I do think that you do still have a future in professional wrestling.
Thank you. I'm working and learning every day.
Do you feel more comfortable though as a babyface or a heel?
You know, I think being a babyface is more me. While I was in NXT, I worked a lot as a heel. And I do love doing both. It kind of depends on the story that I'm trying to give. But right now I've been liking babyface Gina.
And a lot of people, it's weird because so many people feel so strongly about this, because the one answer I normally get is it is a lot easier to make people dislike you than it is to like you. But being
That's funny because I feel the opposite.
Okay. Nothing wrong with that.
I think it's just because I just like love smiling and I love wrestling. So I think there are times where even if I am, portraying a heel character, I'll be smiling and I'm like, no, you need to be like not happy.
No, you can't be happy and high five the fans.
Yeah. That's another thing too. The fans.
The fan interaction?
Yes.
Say, you had mentioned you live in the Pittsburgh area. Are you a big football fan?
I am. Steelers fan. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Tomlin still turned in a winning season this year.
Yep. Yeah.
Lifelong Steelers fan or?
Oh, yeah. I was born and raised in Pittsburgh, so Steelers have been my only team.
Occasionally, Shane Douglas, who's a diehard Pittsburgh fan, we'll talk a little bit of football now and again, and he's so passionate about football, and he feels very strongly about the other teams that are in the division. But
yeah, it's definitely different up there. It's like a cult. Like,
I mean, they are incredibly passionate. It's an incredibly passionate fan base. How many games have you been able to attend?
Oof. I don't know. I can't even count. I was just at their last game in Buffalo, the playoff game, and I try to go to a couple every year.
I've never.
We got our You see that?
Yeah, that is awesome. The terrible towels.
Oh yeah.
So Do you are you still watching football like in the final part of this postseason, or once Pittsburgh's out, do you kind of stop caring?
Um, yeah, they're my team. I mean, I will definitely watch the Super Bowl, but yeah, once they're out, I kind of just, eh, there's next year.
So, uh, last question here before we wrap this up. Do you have anything that you would like to promote that you have coming up that you would like to make sure people are aware of, or what is the best way for a promoter to reach out to book you for an upcoming event?
Yeah, you can follow my Instagram page. It's at Gina DeLucia with two A's at the end. I am currently taking bookings. I have a few matches already scheduled this spring. I will be in Pittsburgh on February 10th and again on February 24th for two different shows. Like you mentioned before, late June, I'll be in Indiana for a match. So yeah, I'm just trying to get as much as experience as I can and keep on performing.
Absolutely. Well, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Heated Shenanigans Podcast. I want to thank my guest, Gina, for taking time out of her day to join us. And again, guys, especially promoters I know that watch this podcast, please do take the time to reach out and book Gina for any of your upcoming events. Incredible to work with and a phenomenal talent and a great addition to any roster looking to bolster their women's division. So please do take the time to book Gina for your upcoming events.
Thank you.
You're most welcome. Well, guys, that'll do it. Hopefully everybody stays safe out there and takes care, and we will see you on the next episode.